Hi everybody, it's Denise Devlin here and welcome to the very first edition of the Positive People Show. And I'm really excited to welcome along Karen O'Donnell. And Karen is from Inner GPS. So very welcome, Karen. Thank you so much for coming along.
Great to be here, Denise. Thank you so much for inviting me.
You're really welcome. So Karen, we're going to start off and can you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Denise, I'm originally from Dublin. I'm the youngest of four, and now I'm married with 3 children. I'm living in Baltinglass. I've been working as an inner GPS coach for perhaps 10 years.
Okay. Can you explain a bit, Karen, what is an inner GPS coach?
Inner GPS is all about getting back in touch with yourself. It's about getting back in touch with your own compass, that inner compass. And a lot of the time, it goes off track. A lot of the time we take on board belief systems based on our own childhood. And these tend to be rules that we grow up with. And they keep us on track as children, but when we get to adulthood, most of them we don't need, and then they become roadblocks. So the inner GPS is helping you clear out those thought patterns and the limiting beliefs that you've gained through childhood, and getting more clarity and getting back in touch with you, back in touch with your intuitive self. So that's it in a nutshell of what inner GPS does.
That's brilliant. And I recognize a lot of those terms, obviously, from being a coach myself and doing, my NLP and my NLP master practitioner. So what's your background then? What have you done that's led you to, because you've written this book called The Inner GPS and you do programs in it. So what has got you to this point, Karen, that you put all this qualifications and all that you've been learning and all that you've been actually doing, because you work with people one-to-one and you work with groups. What brought this together to write this book, which you launched in August?
Thank you, Denise. My book, yes, Discover Your Inner GPS. Cool book.
And you can get it on Amazon, everybody.
Yes,
Mine
please.
is ordered in the post. Can't wait for it to come. It should be coming today or tomorrow.
Very good. The inner GPS, what brought me to that? There's a few, I suppose, a few avenues brought me to that, Denise. I was always interested in alternative and helping people. So I studied as an acupuncturist in the 90s. And then I met a wonderful lady, Brandon Bays, who healed herself of cancer. So the journey work, I became a journey practitioner in the early noughties. And I went in to have my second child in 2006. And after he was born, I turned to my husband and said, look after him. I then stopped breathing. And yeah, the doctors were called in, and obviously there was commotion in the room. Actually, they got the defibrillators on, and they're trying to shock me back. I had no pulse, but I could see all this happening, Denise. I could literally, it was almost like I just stood back or lifted off the bed as such. I could see all the commotion. The doctors trying to bring me back to life. One little doctor squeezing an airbag, trying to get air into my lungs.
Wow!
And this went on for 26 minutes. And during that time, I could see almost like a video screen beside me of scenes of my life. And there was lots of scenes, but there was a common theme, and it was me feeling unsafe. Me not feeling safe to be me. Right. And an early video was me hiding in the wardrobe of my bedroom. Wow. And hiding from my father, who was drunk, and he wanted to come and teach me a lesson. And so from a very early age, I learned to be invisible.
Okay.
And at that moment on the hospital bed, I was becoming invisible. I was literally disappearing out of my own life. So it was like that I had a belief system that I was running throughout my life, and it was now coming to pass. And it was when the doctor, after about 26 minutes, lovely doctor, the room just went quiet.
Okay.
And he turned to his staff and basically told them to discontinue their efforts. Wow. And I saw the nurse approach my husband, Fran, and put her hand on his shoulder and say, she's gone. And that split second, I had a decision to make, to either go or come back. And so I came back, and the beeps came on the machine, and there was...
Wow, I've got goosebumps. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it was some roller coaster. So that propelled me, I'd say. Now I have to say, first of all, Denise, when that happened, I felt a fraud. I have to say, I felt a fraud because I had started working as a life coach or a journey practitioner. There's so many different modalities out there. And I'd helped people clear out limiting beliefs. So I wasn't a stranger to them.
Okay.
But it's amazing how we don't see our own stuff.
Oh, of course.
So that was my mission then, was to just look at all the ways we develop belief systems, limiting belief systems, and then how to clear them out of the way. And so it took 13 years of research before the book came out last year.
Wow,
so
brilliant.
It's a long answer to a short question, Denise. That's how I came to that. I've done lots of modalities. Right. The one big area, and this is another part that people may not know, is that the one big area is that it was the whole area around forgiveness.
Right.
I could understand why I put the limiting beliefs in place.
Yeah.
But could I forgive my father? I held on to that. It was almost like a badge of, I don't want to say honor. It's something I'm not proud of, but I held on to that story.
So I was going to say, yeah, your story. Yeah.
Because, well, I had the higher moral ground, perhaps. I was the one being victimized, been treated that way. And it was part of my story, and I wouldn't let it go. And I then threw myself into researching forgiveness, and Colin Tipping, who's since passed this year, radical forgiveness, forever in his debt for the work he's done. And a year I spent working through radical forgiveness, and almost 2 years to the day when I had my near-death experience, my own father died.
Wow.
And I was in the hospital room with him that night.
Oh, goodness.
But he died, and I had no anger. Wow. It was a complete peace because I knew what he'd gone through.
Yeah, yeah.
And so the healing that took place that night. So
that's beautiful.
It was part of the journey.
Yeah, I can just feel that emotion there. Oh my goodness, thank you for sharing that with us. That's beautiful. And that just shows you, doesn't it, the power of forgiveness. For you, from being a place of anger, and as you said, the high moral ground, and then being able to turn that around, do the work, do the inner work.
Yeah.
And the inner work's so important, and work on that radical forgiveness, and how that turned out, that you were able to be at peace and be there with your dad as he passed over.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's beautiful. And I'm sure you feel him with you now when you're doing your work, and as your book came out and all that there, it's like, I'm sure he's behind you the whole way.
Yeah, he's a huge part of the book. Obviously the beginning is some of the negative aspects, but that quickly clears because he started International Pen Friends a year after I was born, and his whole ethos was to connect people through communication.
Wow.
He couldn't communicate too on himself, and it's a bit the irony isn't lost on me that he couldn't communicate with his family appropriately. But I'm a communicator, I'm a speaker coach, and that all came out after my near-death experience, when I had to. The message I got there, the learning was be seen and heard. So public speaking was what I also launched into. So he's always around, yes, and
Oh, I can feel it. The book is yeah, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. So how did you get into the public speaking then too?
Well, when I developed the inner GPS, let's go back a bit. The year I was pregnant on my second child, Callum, I was asked to do a presentation on coaching. And I remember very well. I remember the ping or email, the ping of the email, and I got a new message, and I could hear Fran in the kitchen playing with Luca, and I read this message, Denise, and my heart sank. It really did. It was like my world was coming to an end. And it was 5 days later, I'd say, before I plucked up the courage to say to Fran what was in the email. And the email was, will you give a presentation on journey work?
All right. Okay.
We've booked a room in such a hotel, it's on such a date. And I thought, oh my God, the thought of speaking in front of people terrified me.
Wow.
And Fran said to me, be your own coach, take your own medicine now, you need to do this. And so I did the talk. I hated it. I was sick for days, the anxiety, and afterwards the beration of, I could have done it better and all that. So I said to myself,
beating yourself up with the big stick.
absolutely,
Yeah, we all do that. Yeah.
I am never doing that. I would rather die than do that. Isn't that funny? And I was a few months pregnant on Callum at that time. So after the whole near-death experience and the message, the little voice that came coming up was, be seen, be heard. So obviously public speaking was a good match for that. And when I put together the inner GPS, I thought, okay, let's take a look at it. And the GPS stands for, the G is go deep. So that's the whole go deep sessions that I do. So I did it on myself. What is the heart of the matter here? What's the core of the challenge? All the emotions came up, and some memories that weren't nice about speaking in front of people. Clear that out of the way. And the P for me is parachutes. Getting in touch with people who will support you, who will lift you up, or ways of learning something. So I got in touch with Toastmasters. I learned the skill and I got a mentor. And the S is strategies. So I learned lots of strategies, visualization. So I visualized a beautiful group that I was talking to, and they were really interested in what I had to say. And so I used all the GPS tools to so I could excel at the whole public speaking. So that's what got me into Toastmasters and public speaking.
Oh, that's brilliant. And you've gone, like, I'm in Toastmasters as well, and it's just been amazing. I love it. I've been in it now, it's a year and a half. And I know you've gone really all the way with it. So tell us about your Toastmaster accolades. Is that the right word?
With Toastmasters, I suppose the top award you can get is a distinguished Toastmaster. And to get that, you need to do 50 speeches, lots of leadership, start new clubs, all that. And so I got that after 3 years. And I got it a second time. Well, I put my mind, once I had the inner GPS, that helped me hugely in working through it. And also my club, if you were on to give a speech, you were never picked on, and I use the words in a nice way, for table topics.
All right, okay.
And I absolutely hated table topics. So I always put my name up to do a speech. And then I went on and I got the world-class speaking coach accreditation with Craig Ballantyne. Phenomenal guy.
Wow, that's brilliant.
So that's helped me get my word out.
Yeah, it certainly has. So how do you do, so you've got your inner GPS, and then you have your speaking as well. So what way, now we're talking about positive people here, so this is the Positive People Show. So these are really two amazing tools that you have for people to work on them with inner GPS and to help them with coaching. So obviously you're a bit like myself with the positive parties on my St. Peter Chandler work, there's two sides of you as well, isn't there? So tell us how people could get in touch with you about your inner GPS work, and then if you were doing to help them with speaking, your coaching work.
Yeah, the inner GPS, I work with people on a one-to-one, be it in person or online. And I also have an online course coming up in January.
Oh, how exciting.
Yeah, it is. It's great because you want to get the word out there. You want to help people. People can't always come to you.
Yeah.
And a course is a great way of getting the information out there, and they can work with you for 3 months. That's the 3-month course that I run. And that also includes a once a week group Q&A, live Q&A, and a Facebook private group. So it's a nice group and supportive group where people can help each other. And with the public speaking then and presentations, that's quite diverse. I would have people who, as a team, may need to pitch to investors, so they want to get their messaging on point. It can be somebody who just wants to be able to speak and do presentations and work, and so it's one-on-one. But with that, there will always be beliefs around speaking. Am I going to sound okay? There's a fear. Will people laugh at me and all that? So when I do the speaker coaching, that'll always include the inner GPS as well.
Fantastic.
The two run quite well together.
Yeah, which is great, isn't it? Yeah. And so tell us, is there anything else that you'd like to tell us about yourself, Karen? We've heard about your near-death experience. We know that you've got your inner GPS, the book. People can find it on Amazon. And you do one-to-ones, and you do group sessions as well, and workshops, and you also do your coaching and your speaking and coaching as well. Is there anything else that you'd like to tell us about yourself?
What is probably unique in my style of coaching is the Go Deep session. Now this Go Deep session goes literally is in a guided introspective session. No two are the same. I come into those sessions, and I remember speaking to you, Denise, about something similar. You've no ego in this work. I'm not doing the work. It's your own intuition that will guide the work that we do.
Yeah.
And so it's very individual, and that's something I can do on a one-to-one basis. I can't do that in group. So that isn't in my book.
Right. Okay.
Purely because you need to really support somebody going through that. And that's what's quite unique about the type of coaching that I do. So it's always a one-to-one. But with that comes phenomenal healing, emotional, physical challenges. They do start from emotional upsets.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
When we've been upset, when we've been unresolved issue, no matter how small it is.
Yeah.
I look at my daughter, Sive, and I may have said something completely, off the cuff, or I mightn't put much meaning behind it, but she can take such meaning from it, and she can be hurt by it, and it's like, wow, that wasn't what I meant.
Yeah.
So emotional issues, if they're not resolved, that pain sits in ourselves. That anger, that loneliness, it sits there, and if it's allowed to sit there long enough without being cleared out, it will manifest into something more physical. So take time to go deep and help clear out those emotional issues so as your cell can regenerate with lots of vitality and lots of positivity.
Brilliant. And would you find people from all walks of life are coming to you, from, people, aren't they? There's people from all over and all walks of life that are from, people who may be at home, or like the directors of big corporate companies and business owners. It's everybody, isn't it, that's coming to you, because we all have these emotional scars, really, and sometimes we don't even know we have them.
Absolutely. We all wear masks because we were brought up to hide parts of ourselves. That's not good enough. All the judgment. So everybody carries them. Everybody is trying to be somebody else on some level. And when you can drop that mask and that pretense, and allow yourself to be authentic. We use that word an awful lot, but are we really? I know I put makeup on for this.
Yeah, me too.
I'm concerned with how I look, so there's times when I go, whoa, yes, I'll put the makeup on. So we could all use it, and people can access me because I'm online and the courses are online. It means, globally. Yeah. Sure, we're all just neighbors now.
I know, it's great, isn't it? Yeah.
Absolutely.
And when I met you through a group we were in, the Weekend We Won World group, and we were doing like videos together, and I just really loved your energy, and I loved watching your videos, and that's how we connected. And I just love your positivity as well. So I suppose this is the Positive People Show. If you're having a day when you're feeling kind of a bit down or a bit flat, which we all have them, how would you, turn yourself around to be, to be, because we, as we say, we have these emotions, we have to go there, we have to go deep, but we don't want to stay there. So how do you turn yourself around to have those positive vibes?
Yeah, there's several ways. Now I mentioned 8 in the book. A little bit of a promotion there, but there's usually, I always find that it starts with the mind. What are you saying to yourself? What is that inner chatter that's going on? And it tends to be, I'm no good at this, or something that's you're judging yourself. Yeah. If that happens, turn the thought around. Is it true? Yeah. Could the opposite be as true? And then look for facts, look for evidence to support that more positive thought. Yeah. So, for instance, if we take it, you're a failure. That's a big, heavy one to have first thing in the morning. But if you have one, turn it around and say, okay, are there times when I've been successful? When you go to the filing cabinet of your mind, it's a bit slower for your mind to come up with the positives. Are the times when I've been successful? Who here can ride a bike? Yeah. Do you remember when you learned how to ride a bike? Of course. Do you remember holding onto those handlebars and an older brother or sister taking off the stabilizers, or your parents, and giving you one final push? Yeah. And your little feet just pedaled with all their might, and you succeeded. Yes. That might be a small success, but at the time you felt on top of the world. Yeah. So create a collage of times when you succeeded. An exam you passed, that boy or girl you asked out. Now you have a collage of factual information of when you were a success. So when that negative thought tries to enter your mind and doubt you, you have the
Yeah.
facts. And when you do that, your mind will go with the facts, and you'll already feel uplifted. So there's lots of ways that you can. That's just one of them.
I love that one. That's really good. Yeah, brilliant. And I read there's a Barbara Fredrickson and her book Positivity, and I remember her saying all the research that was done that for every negative that happens in the day, you really need 3 positives to turn them around. Yeah,
it's a good way of doing it, because the mind is programmed to doubt, because it's always looking to preserve you. And so if it was programmed to always tell you how great you are, that wouldn't keep you safe. But if it's programmed to point out your faults and what's going wrong, it will get you to keep on, upping your game a bit, which is okay to a point. But there's no mammoth, chasing us. We're not gonna be consumed by a big animal.
Not that we know of.
Only the one in our heads.
I know, only that monster. Karen, thank you so much for coming on the very first edition of the Positive People Show. Yay. I am delighted to have you here. InnerGPS, how can people get in touch with you? What's your website?
www.innergpssystem.com, or email me on connect@innergpssystem.com.
And people can find you on Facebook too, can't they?
I'm on Facebook. Yeah,
and on LinkedIn.
All over the place.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for being my first guest. It was so lovely to have you. And everybody, you can find me, Denise Devlin, on Facebook. I also have positiveparties.com, denisedevlin.ie, and you can find me on LinkedIn as well. So thanks very much, and we'll be back soon with another lovely guest on the Positive People Show. Thank you. Bye.